Hello everyone. In this video, we are going to discuss a very interesting company called Asian Paints. Once upon a time, a famous financial analyst called Saurabh Mukherjee was traveling. On this journey, he met an elderly gentleman in the train who ran his own company, which for the last 40 years consulted big Indian oil refining industries with regards to which dyes, paints, and coatings should be used. On hearing this, Saurabh asked the gentleman, which company would you recommend for paints? To which he immediately answered, Asian Paints, and nobody comes even close. Saurabh wanted to dig deeper and understand why exactly Asian Paints is the best. However, the gentleman answered that there is no easy answer for this because Asian Paints products are not cheap. And even though they are high quality, the competitors can produce the same kind of quality, but they are not able to dominate the way Asian Paints does. So there is no easy answer as to why they are number one. After returning to Mumbai, Saurabh continued to ponder over why Asian Paints is number one. And to answer this question, he dived deep into market research and in the process wrote a book called Unusual Billionaires, which has its second chapter written on Asian Paints. In this video, we will explore this amazing story of Asian Paints, understand why it is a dominating force in the paints industry, and why it gives substantial stock market returns. During World War II, when J.R.D. Tata became the youngest chairman of a business house and the Birlas were looking to grow their empire, World War II had caused a temporary ban on the paints imported from foreign countries. A 26-year-old entrepreneur, Champaklal Choksi, saw a great opportunity to start a paints company, which he started with three of his friends and named it Asian Oil and Paints Company. After starting off, he quickly learnt about what gaps exist in the market and what his competitors were doing wrong, and he took actions accordingly. For example, he noticed that during the 1940s, maximum paints companies were focusing on the industrial market for their business. And that market was price driven, meaning the lowest bidder got the order. But the decorative retail market had very little competition and it had the potential for good profits too. He also realized that in this segment, if there are good connections with the distributors and retailers, even smaller volume sales could result in profits. So he decided to solely focus on the decorative retail segment. But he faced the problem of getting his products to the market, as very few distributors handled a large share of the market. These distributors rejected Champaklal's products. To tackle this problem, he started approaching the retailers directly, which proved to be very powerful. The retailers felt valued as the manufacturer himself was coming to them and also they were getting the paints at a much cheaper rate. So as it happened in 1950s in Sangli and Satara, the renamed Asian Paints opened their first dealership. Talking about the core business of Asian Paints, it mainly manufactures paints for decorative retail as well as industrial use. It also manufactures chemicals, wall coverings, waterproofing, along with varnishes, enamels or lacquers, surface preparation, organic composite solvents, and thinners. In decorative paints, the company is present in all four segments that is, interior wall finishes, exterior wall finishes, enamels, and wood finishes. Asian Paints also manufactures metal sanitary ware such as baths, sinks, wash basins, and similar articles. Recently, Asian Paints introduced lightings, furnishings, and furniture, thus adding more products to the home decor and interior design category. In paints business, the group enjoys a dominant share of over 50% in the organized domestic paints market. The second largest player has a market share of about 16%. In the decorative paints segment, which comprises of about 70 to 75% of the Indian paint industry, the group has a share of about 60%. It also has a healthy position in the automotive industrial coating segment with a market share of about 20%. The company forayed into kitchen business by acquiring 51% stake in Sleek in financial year 2013-2014. Asian Paints forayed into the bath business by acquiring the front end business of SS in financial year 2014-2015. Over the years, Asian Paints has expanded its network footprint as well as the range of the products it offers. Looking at the geography of sales for Asian Paints, it has a wide global presence and a heavy presence in Asia. Asian Paints is present internationally in countries like Indonesia, Sri Lanka, Bangladesh, Singapore, and 48% of the total revenues for Asian Paints come from these countries, along with India. It is also present in countries like Egypt, Ethiopia, Bahrain, UAE, Oman, Solomon Islands, Fuji, etc., with 20% revenues generated from Africa, 26% from the Middle East, and 6% from the South Pacific. In total, Asian Paints operates in 15 countries and has 26 paint manufacturing facilities in the world, serving consumers in over 60 countries. Besides Asian Paints, the group operates internationally through various brands like Asian Paints Berger, Apco Coatings, SCIB Paints, Taubmans, Causeway Paints, Cadisco Asian Paints. Asian Paints employs over 7,600 employees in India as well as internationally. Asian Paints believes in hiring the best talent and hence they are one of the highest paying companies in India.
Asian Paints absolutely dominates its competition because Asian Paints has heavily focused on advertising to increase brand recognition. For example, for their washable distemper product, they advertised with a slogan, "Don't lose your temper, just have a washable distemper," which was a great hit. Then in 1954, they introduced a mascot which targeted the middle class consumer very well. Furthermore, their slogan "Har Ghar Kuch Kehta Hai" became a pan-India icon which led to amazing brand recall and marketing reach. Another reason is that Asian Paints has always embraced new technology very quickly. It bought a mainframe computer in 1973 which they were using for demand forecasting and ERP. They also started using GPS to track their logistics. Another reason for their dominance is the supply chain management. Asian Paints has a superior dealers and retailers networks which leads to industry leading sales, which in turn drives the network growth for the company. Dealers and retailers prefer to keep large stock of Asian Paints because there is a high demand in the market and company is able to restock much quicker as compared to its competition. The Asian Paints has always thrived to be the best at its core operation by employing the best talent as well as adopting the new technology very quickly. The work culture promotes the strive for innovation and best and efficient work practices, which has led to many awards for Asian Paints. Some of these achievements of Asian Paints are: in 2020 ranked ninth most among the world's leading paint companies by Coating World. In 2019 included in the Forbes list of world's best regarded companies. In 2017 top ranked Indian company in the Forbes most innovative company list. Asian Paints won Outstanding Company of the Year award by CNBC in 2016. Asian Paints felicitated as most impactful companies of the decade by CNBC Awaaz. Moving on to the financials, the total revenue for financial year 2020-21 was around 22,000 crores with a net profit of 3,139 crores and operating margin of 22%. Overall revenue breakup for Asian Paints is as follows: the decorative coatings contribute to 83.7%, the industrial coatings contribute to 2.4%, the industrial operations contribute to 11.6%, and home improvement business contribute to 2.3%. Asian Paints has achieved a high compounded profit growth of 14% for 5 years and 13% for the last 10 years, and high return on equity of 28% for the last 10 years and 26% for the last 5 years. Company has been producing substantial cash flow from its operating activity with a cash inflow of 3,684 crores and a net cash flow of 2,492 crores for financial year 2020-21. The return on capital employed is among the best at 34% for this financial year. Glancing at the balance sheet, we see that the company is nearly debt free and has industry leading cash conversion cycle of 59 days. Cash conversion cycle means how long it takes for the company to convert inventory into cash. Also, asset growth has been steady at 16% CAGR for the last 10 years, and the working capital days have been steadily rising and now stand at 58 days, meaning that company has enough working capital to sustain for 58 days without any cash inflow in this period. It has a low dividend yield of 0.59% and a high price to earning ratio of 88.5. Its market capitalization is 2,87,951 crores. Very recently, the second quarter results for financial year 2021-22 for Asian Paints have been declared and the consolidated revenue grew by 32.6% year on year to 7,096 crores. Asian Paints total expenses jumped by 49% on year to 6,418 crores, led to 73% rise in the cost of raw materials. Impact of surge in input cost was felt in companies' operating performance as consolidated operating profit sank 28.5% year on year to 904 crores. Asian Paints conducts various corporate social responsibility activities in education with Gyan Shakti program with school adoption. Through this 3-year program, they offer a holistic approach to education for students between 3rd and 8th grade, focusing on the maths, English, and science. Other projects like Udan and Naya Savera empower underprivileged kids who dropped out of school with career and skill courses like MS Word and Excel and help them prepare for jobs by equipping them with industry preferred skill sets and placement guidance. In health and hygiene, they contribute with Project Drishyam, which cater to those with eye diseases and permanent blindness. Mobile medical units in villages where hospitals may be very far, in which cases mobile treatment facility becomes crucial, and Project Suffer, which is an initiative directed towards improving health awareness and correcting lifestyle habits of the truckers. They also contribute to water resource management for the relief of those under distress due to drought or other national calamities. With this, we come to the end of the video. We would like to thank Tushar sir and the subject International Business to provide us an opportunity to study this great business. Hope you enjoyed this very interesting story of the Asian Paints.